The year was 1916 and the British Empire was at war with the Germans. Only a couple years prior, the British Parliament voted in favour of establishing Home Rule for Ireland, which would allow the Irish control of its own internal territory while still remaining a part of the British Empire. However, this was put on hold with the outbreak of World War I. Many Irishmen enlisted to join the war, however, many Irishmen didn't want to fight for the British. The members of various nationalist groups, the largest being the Irish Republican Brotherhood, saw this as the perfect time to start an uprising as the British were distracted by the war. In 1916, under the disguise of an Easter military parade, thousands of volunteers would rise up across Ireland. However, due to miscommunication at the last second, the rising mainly occurred in Dublin. These rebels marched and captured key areas around Dublin. They seized the General Post Office, the GPO, and made this their headquarters. It is here where Patrick Pearse read aloud the Irish proclamation to the people in the streets outside the GPO. He proclaimed that Irish lands will be ruled by Ireland and that the Irish Republic was born. The Irish volunteers held control of much of the city centre. The first death of the uprising occurred when the Irish volunteers attempted to capture the British-controlled Dublin Castle, where Constable O'Brien was shot dead. Fighting broke out among the streets where makeshift barricades were set up to block the movement of troops. In the British-controlled Trinity College, Brigadier General William Lowe set up artillery which blasted the Irish volunteer positions across the city. Much of the city was destroyed and fires broke out in many buildings, including the GPO, which forced the Irish troops to move headquarters. However, they got bogged down in the streets and were trapped. In order to stop further civilian deaths, the Irish volunteers surrendered on the 29th of April to the British. Only 5 days after the rebellion began, it was over. In the following days, the vast majority of the rebellion's leadership were executed in Richmond barracks. These men who died became martyrs to the fight for an Irish Republic, and in the following election, the Sinn Féin party, who advocated for an independent Ireland, won almost every seat outside of Ulster. Since the Easter Rising, Ireland had changed. They were now on the road to take control of their own destiny. Less than 5 years later, the Irish Wars for Independence began, with many members of the Easter Rising taking part in this as well. Eventually, the Irish Republic would be founded, and it can be said that this attempt all began with the Easter Rising of 1916.